There has never been an easier time to start a business than right now. 30 years ago, entrepreneurship was almost exclusively for those people who had capital to invest and a wide range of skills and experience. There were much higher barriers to entry and less opportunities for those who didn't have the advantages of time and money. But today, anybody can start a business as long as you have a computer, Wi-Fi, and something to offer. This is why if you spend any time on social media, you're going to see plenty of examples of young entrepreneurs who achieved massive success before they even turned 30. Take Grace Beverley. She founded her own sustainable athleisure brand, and she did it while she was still at university, and now she owns and runs 3 successful businesses, and I think she just turned 28. Or take Ali Abdaal. He started a YouTube channel in 2017 as a side hustle while he was studying to be a doctor, and now he makes multiple millions every single year by just creating content on the internet. He made his first million before he even turned 30. So with these kinds of people in mind, it's very hard not to start feeling the pressure of making it early in life. If you're not rich and famous by the time that you're 25, what are you even doing, right? Surely in this remote and flexible new world, anybody should be able to start a business by the time that they're 25 and retire by the time that they're 40. What about us in our late 30s or in our 40s? Are we running out of time? Did we miss the success train? Should we even bother starting our own business? And should we just resign to the young people taking over the world? Obviously not. That's nonsense. In this video, I'm going to go over why starting my own business in my late 30s worked perfectly for me and why I wouldn't change one thing even if I could go back in time. Let's dive in. Let's start with a massive misconception. Many people think that your 20s are for you to figure out what you are meant to be doing. You're meant to figure out what you want to do and then stick with it forever. I disagree with this. I don't think it's realistic for most people to already know what they're meant to be doing when they're fresh out of university. And even if you did have a clear idea of what you want to do when you're 22, I can guarantee that that will change over time. Because people change and life has ways to throw you off course and to shift your trajectory over and over again. When I was 20, I was 100% sure that I would become a professional dancer. Then I changed my mind and I thought that I would be a stage manager. Then I changed my mind again and I thought that I would become like a theatre company manager. Then I got my first gig in finance and accounting. I really liked that, and so I started doing that for a few years. And now, a year ago, I quit my employed job and I started my own business. And who knows what I'll decide to do in 2, 5, or 10 years. What has stayed the same over the past 10, 15 years that I've been in the job market is the curiosity that I've always had towards whatever it is that I was doing. I've always enjoyed learning new things on the job. And I've always enjoyed noticing and understanding how organizations change and thrive, even while markets are changing and technology is changing. And culture is changing. I think this is why I love finance and accounting so much. Finance is the department through which eventually all the information about a business goes, and where most of the decisions are taken, and where you have the data to be able to look into the future and make decisions based on that. So I actually think that your 20s should be the decade for you to acquire skills and experience, regardless of what you might end up doing in the long term. As you move through the job market, try to learn about everything that you come close to. How different departments work, what makes a business operate well, how culture is cultivated, how to manage people, and how technology is integrated in the work. Being curious and absorbing as much as you can from every job experience that you have will build your awareness of what works and what doesn't work in business. I promise that this will serve you incredibly well one day. Moving on to my next point, I think that the idea of being in the spotlight when you're a 20-year-old, it fills me with terror. You are so young when you're 20, and there's still so much that you have to learn about yourself and your system of values. If you strike gold when you're in your 20s, obviously that's amazing, but you'll also be burdened by the expectations and the pressure that you can only go up from there. And all of your failures will be very much public. I recently watched a podcast where Sarah Ashcroft was the guest. She is the founder of a company called SLA, which is a clothing brand in the UK. And Sarah described the journey that led her from founding this very successful company all the way to having to liquidate it due to a cash flow issue that she didn't find a solution to. All of this happened before she turned 30. Well, first of all, I want to say that Sarah was incredibly brave to hop on a podcast and talk about such a painful journey of going from high successes to having to liquidate your own company. And she explains that the main reason why she had the cash flow issue to begin with is because she was working with a manufacturer and she didn't have a contract with them. And so they sent them stock that was damaged and she couldn't resell. And also at the same time, she hired someone in her senior team who ended up being like the wrong person for the job. And these two mistakes are very common among young entrepreneurs who don't have the experience yet to know when to cover their backs when things go wrong. And I imagine that it was very painful for her to go through the liquidation of her company in such a public way. If you reach success early, you will always be in the spotlight, and expectations will be placed on you before you ever have a chance to learn more about yourself and about the business that you're in. Allowing yourself more time before you're known for something allows you to take more creative risks and to experiment with yourself as a professional. Speaking about failure, let's talk about how important failure is in life and how unequipped you are to deal with failure when you're young. I spent my 20s being terrified of failure. I felt every mistake that I made really badly, and I felt that I was only as good as the achievements that I was able to earn. Now I've learned that this is the wrong attitude to have. All of us will fail eventually. Everybody makes mistakes. There is no way around it. And guess what? Mistakes are the things that makes us better, not the successes. Successes and achievements are the things that happen when you're able to fail and then move on over and over again. I'm now in a place where I'm okay with putting out content that isn't perfect. And by the way, you may have noticed about imperfection that now this side of my shot is covered because I'm currently camping and it's about to rain, so we had to put the tent down. Anyway, it's imperfect, but I'm still going to put it out there because done is better than perfect. And if there's anything that needs fixing, I can work on it next time. Failure and making mistakes are an important part of life. You simply can't grow if you don't fail. Many times. Starting a business when you're older means that you're much more likely to have internalized this. And you will already know that failing is an integral part of business. You'll have probably learned to stop taking every single mistake personally and to instead use them to be better in the future. It's also very hard to build a business when you don't really know who you are yet. In my 20s, I always felt like I had something to prove. I was faking it until hopefully one day I would make it, but I was never really sure that I would be able to rise to a challenge whenever I encountered one. I was changing my mind often about who I wanted to be and my ideals and what kind of professional I wanted to be. And also I was focusing quite a lot on how my peers and colleagues were perceiving me. And I was always trying to prove them right or wrong. And all of this stopped in my early 30s when I had enough experience under my belt to enable me to stop caring so much about what other people thought of me. And I was confident enough with who I was and my abilities. Your 30s are the years where who you are and how you work becomes clear to you. You fought your battles, you learn your lessons, and you have a much clearer idea around what works and doesn't work for you. I definitely feel like I've earned my spot in my field and have developed a really strong instinct and internal compass that really help me make my decisions. I would have never been able to stay so steady and resilient even 10 years ago. And you really need steadiness and resilience as you work your way through the ups and downs of owning a business. So founding my business in my late 30s, I was almost 37 years old, worked out perfectly for me. I had a really great first year of being a full-time business owner. My income was just under 60K, and I'm well on my way to make about 20% more this year. And I would not have been able to achieve this if I became self-employed in my 20s. I would not have the skills that I have today, nor the business acumen that I have, and I wouldn't have the clarity that I have today after working so many years in my industry. So if you're in your 30s or 40s and you feel the pressure of being too late to start your own business, this is your official permission to just eliminate those thoughts. You are not too late. First of all, you don't have to start a business to be successful. You can be perfectly happy by having a 9-to-5 job, and success means something different from person to person. But if you do want to start your own business, you are definitely not too late. You're likely to have so much more knowledge, confidence, and abilities than you would have if you started in your 20s. You are not behind. Let me know in the comments if this video resonated with you. I really hope that you will like it and maybe subscribe to the channel as well. And I'll see you at the next one. Bye!